Imagine this with me for a moment. Two individuals, people you might even know, seemingly locked in this really bitter, long-standing rivalry. The kind of public antagonism that's basically defined them for years.
Right, everyone knows they can't stand each other.
Exactly. Now, picture them suddenly forced into, incredibly close quarters. For a high-stakes mission, absolutely critical. They can't stand each other, at least. That's what everyone thinks.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So friction is guaranteed.
Because here's the twist.
Mm-hmm.
What if everything you and everyone around them thought you knew about their dynamic? What if it was just an elaborate, meticulously crafted performance? What then?
Okay. So not real animosity. Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. This is where we plunge into fascinating narratives, peel back their intricate layers, and really try to extract those surprising, often hidden nuggets of knowledge and insight.
Mm-hmm.
And today, we're digging into a truly peculiar set of sources. You've handed us this incredibly detailed account of a supposed undercover operation that takes an astonishing, almost unbelievable turn.
It really does.
It's a story just rich with professional obligation, deeply personal secrets, and some truly unexpected revelations that kind of challenge our very notions of public and private identity. It's quite something.
Our mission today, then, as your guides through this material, is to unpack this whole narrative. We're going to explore that intricate, often exhausting, dance between public perception and, private reality.
That gap between the two.
Exactly. We'll look at the often overlooked yet profound hidden costs of maintaining a secret life, even one you believe is, for your own protection.
Right, the toll it takes.
And crucially, we'll uncover the unexpected, sometimes quite forceful ways that truth can ultimately set you free. I have a feeling this story is going to offer some truly resonant aha moments for all of us listening.
I think you're right. It feels like one of those stories.
So let's set the scene. Our story opens in the hushed yet somehow bustling corridors of the ministry, a place where appearances and long-held reputations clearly mean, everything.
Oh, definitely. Image is key there.
And our narrative kicks off with what seems like a classic, almost routine encounter between two familiar figures, Harry and Draco. And right from the jump, the source just paints this vivid picture of their well-established public antagonism.
Yeah, the tension, even in just a normal ministry corridor, it's almost palpable, isn't it? The source describes Draco's greeting to Harry as a familiar sneer, sharp and cutting, slicing through the quiet like a freshly honed blade.
Oof. Strong imagery.
It is. This isn't just casual dislike. It's this deeply ingrained, almost performative disdain, something they've clearly cultivated over time. Harry, for his part, responds with a long-suffering sigh, but the source explicitly says it was entirely for show.
Ah, okay, so even the sigh is part of the act.
Exactly. It's clear from the outset that these aren't just two colleagues bumping into each other. This is a highly choreographed, almost theatrical interaction for anyone who might be listening in.
And that tension isn't just described, it's practically heard through the dialogue itself, right? Harry's sarcastic retort, "Still haven't found a better way to greet your colleagues, I see."
And Draco's cutting reply, "As if you're a colleague, Potter. You're merely an unfortunate necessity." It doesn't just reinforce their public contempt, it elevates it. It's so over the top, so perfectly barbed, it almost hints at the performance underneath, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like they've memorized their lines for this specific encounter.
That's an excellent observation. It feels very rehearsed. And what's fascinating here is how quickly the narrative pivots from this established rivalry to an even more immediate shared predicament. Draco, without any preamble, just thrusts a scroll of parchment at Harry, revealing Kingsley Shacklebolt's latest bright idea, they're to be partners, on an undercover operation to infiltrate the Order of the Obsidian Serpent.
Partners? After that greeting?
Exactly, and the feigned surprise from both of them is absolutely key. Harry looks up, meets Draco's gaze, asking, "Together," and Draco's response, "Don't sound so thrilled, Potter. I assure you the feeling is mutual." It just highlights their commitment to this public charade, even when faced with what seems like, an infuriating new assignment. They're playing to the audience, even if there isn't one right there.
They are. They're playing to the idea of an audience, the ever-present possibility of being overheard.
And the source drives this home with remarkable clarity. It explicitly states that this public spat wasn't some spontaneous outburst. Oh no. It was a well-rehearsed performance, honed over years, a shield against suspicion.
Wow. honed over years.
Yeah. They intentionally kept their voices carrying, ensuring every passing Auror and ministry official heard their usual antagonistic banter. You can almost picture them, can't you? Like meticulously planning who gets to insult whom over the water cooler that day.
Ah, yeah, maybe.
This wasn't just a part of their jobs, it was like a foundational element of how they presented themselves to the world, a deep cover extending far beyond any particular mission.
Which immediately raises a compelling question for us to ponder, doesn't it? How often do we, as observers, get completely fooled by surface-level interactions?
All the time, probably.
I think so. This narrative vividly illustrates how the stories we construct about others, based on limited, often performative information, can be wildly inaccurate. Think about how many assumptions are made in a workplace, for instance,
Oh, yeah?
about who gets along with whom or who has what kind of relationship, purely based on their visible behaviors and how they choose to communicate or not communicate in public. Our brains are just wired for efficiency, right? We create narratives quickly from incomplete data.
That's a powerful point. And it immediately makes me wonder, how difficult is it for us, even as supposedly astute observers, to truly see past such a meticulously crafted public front? Are there subtle tells we should be looking for in our own lives beyond what's explicitly presented? Or are we almost always just destined to see the surface?
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
I mean, in a busy office, are you more likely to notice the loud, heated debate or the quiet moment someone held a door or offered a, comforting glance? Our attention is often drawn to the drama.
That's such a keen observation. It highlights a critical point. Our brains are wired to pay attention to what's loud, what's confrontational, what seems to carry immediate importance, the dramatic stuff. But this story is such a powerful reminder that appearances can be incredibly deceptive, and that the most meaningful truths often reside in the unsaid, the nuanced, the almost imperceptible gestures.
The quiet moments.
Exactly. It encourages us to cultivate a deeper level of empathy and observation, to actively question our initial assumptions. Perhaps we need to practice a form of, active non-listening, paying attention not just to the words, but to the silences, the shifts in posture, the fleeting expressions.
Looking beyond the noise.
Yeah, it challenges us to look beyond the immediate performance, to consider that there might be an entirely different reality unfolding just behind closed doors.
And speaking of behind closed doors, the immediate transformation once they're inside Harry's office is truly stark. I mean, the shift is instantaneous and profound. It reveals the sheer exhaustion, doesn't it, of maintaining such a meticulous public persona.
Oh, absolutely. The moment that door clicks shut and the wards hum into place, everything changes. Draco's sneer melted away, replaced by a weary frown. It's like a mask has been physically removed.
Wow.
And his first words, a weak Harry, in a Muggle safe house. How are we supposed to maintain the charade when we're practically living in each other's pockets? That highlights the incredible burden this constant performance places on him. This isn't just annoyance. It speaks to the immense cognitive load involved.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Imagine the mental energy required. Constantly monitoring your expressions, your tone, your body language, ensuring every micro-gesture aligns with a false public identity. It's just an exhausting form of emotional labor. It makes even simple interactions incredibly draining.
And Harry's reaction, it shows their true dynamic beautifully, doesn't it? He steps forward, reaches for Draco's arm, his thumb tracing the fabric of Draco's sleeve.
A small gesture.
But so telling. It's a gesture of comfort, intimacy, reassurance, a subtle affirmation of their private bond. He even offers this dry chuckle, recalling their past experiences. We've managed before, haven't we? Remember that stakeout in Hogsmeade? You almost blew our cover by insisting on organic, free-range butterbeer.
Details like that make it so real.
It's a lighthearted moment, but it belies the serious implications of their secret, doesn't it? It illustrates their shared history and mutual understanding, built on a foundation that very few people could ever imagine.
Which brings us right to the genesis of their secret. The source explicitly states that their secret relationship had blossomed slowly, unexpectedly, in the quiet aftermath of the war.
Slowly, unexpectedly, not some sudden thing.
Exactly. This wasn't some sudden explosive romance, but a gradual, organic evolution. It's a powerful reminder, actually, that profound connections can emerge from the most unlikely circumstances, sometimes from the ashes of conflict and shared vulnerability.
And the building blocks of this connection are equally telling. Shared trauma, late-night talks, and a grudging respect. Those elements speak volumes about the depth of their bond, I think.
Me too.
Right?
It wasn't built on superficial attraction, was it? It was built on a foundation of profound shared experience navigating the emotional landscape after a war that touched them both so deeply, and a slow, often painful process of understanding each other beyond their, preconceived notions.
Yeah, peeling back layers of public animosity to find common ground in vulnerability and mutual understanding. That's a truly powerful development.
And the profound secrecy surrounding their relationship is emphasized heavily. No one knew. Not Ron, not Hermione, not even Ginny.
Wow, not even them.
No one. This highlights the immense isolation that comes with maintaining such a significant secret, even from those closest to them. The weight of this hidden life must have been immense, constantly requiring vigilance and careful maneuvering. They were living these fragmented lives, right? One public, one private, with very little overlap.
A balancing act.
A constant one. And this, as the source concludes, is precisely why their public rivalry was their perfect camouflage. It was the ultimate shield, the most effective way to ensure no one would ever suspect the truth. A truly ingenious, if emotionally taxing, strategy.
Which brings us to a crucial analytical point. The cost of inauthenticity. We often think of lying as maybe a single act, but imagine the cumulative effect of a performance sustained for years.
It built up?
What psychological toll might maintaining such a meticulous public facade take on individuals? Beyond the obvious, like the constant vigilance, the suppression of genuine emotion, the gnawing fear of exposure, which is incredibly draining in itself, there's a deeper cost, isn't there?
Definitely. It's like running a really powerful, energy-consuming program in the background of your mind, constantly.
Yeah.
Monitoring your words, your body language, your reactions.
Always on.
Always. This continuous cognitive load can lead to decision fatigue in other areas of life, emotional exhaustion, and even a profound sense of isolation, because you can't be truly seen or understood by those around you.
Huh?
You're effectively building walls, even from those you care about most, which, paradoxically, can leave you feeling deeply alone.
That's a heavy price.
Precisely. The perceived need for protection, as in Harry and Draco's case, maybe from societal judgment, professional repercussions, or just the discomfort of breaking an established narrative often drives this behavior. But the psychological cost is far more insidious than just feeling tired.
How so?
It's the erosion of self, I think. A profound division between who you truly are and the character you constantly portray. Think of the emotional labor involved, the constant effort to manage and suppress your real feelings while manufacturing acceptable ones. This isn't just a high price, it's a foundational compromise. It can lead to a fragmented sense of identity, where the authentic self gets buried beneath layers of performance, making it harder to connect authentically even with yourself, let alone others. It's a very universal theme, isn't it? The masks we wear and the toll they take, even when we think they're for a good reason.
Absolutely. So, with their secret firmly established, a secret that had really become their public identity in a weird way, how would this intricate dance between public charade and private intimacy hold up under the most challenging circumstances? That's what the mission itself was designed to test, right? Let's dive into those details.
Indeed. The official details of their undercover operation were quite specific. Their supposed target was the Order of the Obsidian Serpent, described as an emerging dark wizard group.
Sounds ominous enough.
Right. And their cover story was to pose as disgruntled ex-ministry employees looking to join this group. This required them to, get this, feign interest in the group's rather dull manifesto.
Oh, the dull manifesto. That detail adds such a layer of mundane annoyance to their already complex situation. Imagine having to pretend to be captivated by something utterly tedious, all while maintaining this demanding emotional facade.
Exactly. A dull manifesto is almost worse than an exciting one when you're trying to feign interest. It just highlights the sheer tediousness sometimes involved in these charades, and their temporary home for this mission. Well, it was certainly designed to amplify the challenge of their proximity and the constant need for performance.
Let me guess, not exactly spacious.
Not at all. The Muggle safe house is described as a small, unassuming cottage in the countryside. It had 2 bedrooms, a tiny kitchen, and a living room with a crackling fireplace. Sounds quaint, perhaps.
But maybe not for 2 people pretending to hate each other.
Precisely. For 2 individuals trying to maintain a public rivalry while secretly intimate, it was clearly a challenge. Draco's initial reaction to the cramped space, a look of utter horror, perfectly captures the irony of their situation. There's no escaping each other, no true private space to drop the act completely.
Yeah, the pressure must have been immense.
Imagine having to maintain that facade in such close quarters, with every movement and utterance potentially under scrutiny, even if only in their own minds. The constant pressure of managing two identities in such a confined space would be huge.
And the bickering continued, even there, even in this more private-ish setting.
Oh, yes. The source tells us they continued their loud bickering over trivial matters, like who got the room with the actual bed versus the cot, even tossing duffel bags around, ensuring any potential magical eavesdroppers would hear their usual antics.
Wow, that demonstrates their absolute, almost obsessive commitment to the public act. Even when they were theoretically safer from immediate ministry scrutiny, they were so deeply ingrained in their roles, weren't they?
So used to the performance, they couldn't just switch it off easily. It's a real testament to how deeply a persona can become embedded in your behavior.
It's those little moments, isn't it, that truly test the resolve of anyone trying to maintain a secret. They highlight the immense microstresses involved in living a double life.
Absolutely. What's particularly revealing is how the everyday mundanity of sharing a small space became a high-pressure test for their charade.
Yeah.
Take the Muggle toaster incident.
Ah, yes, the toast.
"Potter, are you trying to burn the toast?" Draco snaps,
Yeah.
followed by Harry's retort about not being raised by house elves. This isn't just idle chatter. It's a demonstration of how deeply they leaned into their public personas, even over something as trivial as breakfast, to reinforce the image of antagonism.
It shows how the stress of maintaining a secret can just permeate every single interaction, doesn't it? Turning even the most mundane tasks into part of the performance, a constant reinforcement of the false narrative.
Every single everyday interaction, from making toast to a momentary shiver in the cold, becomes a high-pressure situation when you're maintaining a secret identity or relationship. You're constantly calculating, constantly performing, even when you're exhausted or distracted. This constant mental and emotional burden is like chronic, low-level stress, right? Activating your sympathetic nervous system, leading to fatigue, irritability, and over time, potentially even burnout. It's far more taxing than any physical demands of a mission because it requires a constant active suppression of your genuine self.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Precisely. But then you get these beautiful, subtle contrasts that just break through the facade. Like during the Chili Alley stakeout, Harry shivers and Draco, without thinking, reached out and pulled a warming charm from his pocket, subtly aiming it at Harry.
Ah, okay. An instinct.
A quiet, instinctual act of care, a momentary lapse in the charade where true affection just shines through.
And Harry catches his eye.
Yeah, a silent thank you passing between them before Draco quickly scowls and mutters, "Don't get soft, Potter. You're supposed to be a hardened oar."
Wow. Back into character, just like that.
Instantly. This micro-interaction is incredibly powerful. It's a nonverbal conversation that speaks volumes, revealing a depth of connection and care that their spoken words, part of the charade, deliberately obscure.
It's a classic example of how actions, especially those subtle, unthinking ones, are often louder than words, particularly when those words are part of a deliberate performance.
Exactly. It challenges us as listeners, doesn't it? To look beyond the obvious, to notice the small cues and gestures that might reveal a deeper, more authentic truth about a situation or a relationship.
It absolutely does.
It raises an important point about nonverbal communication, too. In high-stakes situations or when people are trying to hide something, their conscious verbal communication might be misleading, but their subconscious actions often betray their true feelings.
Like a poker tell.
Sort of, yeah. Think about how much information we convey through eye contact, proximity, or even just a shared glance. These subtle cues are harder to control than spoken words, making them powerful indicators of underlying truth.
And despite all this public show, the source confirms that later that night they would be curled together on that very bed, whispers and soft touches replacing their earlier barbs. It's such a stark, beautiful juxtaposition. It really underscores the layers of their existence, the profound difference between their day and night personas. It makes you wonder, what does this tell you about looking beyond the obvious in your own life?
Yeah.
Whether it's in professional settings, personal relationships, or even just observing interactions around you. How often do we miss the subtle cues, the quiet acts of kindness, or the underlying vulnerabilities because we're focused on the loud, performative displays?
That's such a critical question. Our brains are wired to pay attention to what's loud, what's confrontational, what seems immediately important.
To drama.
Right. But this story is such a powerful reminder that appearances can be incredibly deceptive. and that the most meaningful truths often reside in the unsaid, the nuanced, the almost imperceptible gestures.
So we need to practice that active non-listening you mentioned.
Maybe. Or just active observing. Cultivating a deeper level of empathy, questioning our initial assumptions. Paying attention not just to the words, but to the silences, the body language, the fleeting expressions. It's about recognizing that words can be misleading, but authentic actions, especially those that slip out unbidden, can truly reveal the heart of a matter.
And as we've seen how subtly the truth can emerge even in the smallest gestures. Well, get ready, because the mission they thought they were on was about to take its most astonishing twist yet, revealing a truth far stranger than fiction.
Here we go.
So Harry and Draco are deep into this mission, right? Maintaining their elaborate charade under the constant pressure of forced proximity. The tension is building, both from their supposed assignment and just the strain of their secret. And then the twist. The unraveling begins on the fourth day.
Yes, the source describes a really tense atmosphere as they receive a message. They need to meet a high-ranking member of the Obsidian Serpent in a deserted warehouse.
Okay, classic setup. This is it.
Exactly. The classic setup for a dramatic confrontation, the climax of their undercover work. They're undoubtedly bracing themselves for a dangerous encounter, their adrenaline likely coursing, ready to face whatever dark wizard awaits them in the shadows of that isolated building.
But what emerges from the shadows is not at all what they, or frankly, we as the listener would expect.
Not even close.
It's Kingsley Shacklebolt, looking entirely too pleased with himself, and beside him, arms crossed, was Hermione.
Whoa, okay.
The shock of this reveal, after all their meticulous planning, the constant performance, the micro-stresses of their week in the safe house, it must have been just overwhelming. It's an immediate gut-punch realization that something is fundamentally wrong with their understanding of the situation.
Their reaction is perfectly captured. Harry and Draco freeze, their carefully constructed facades crumbling. This is the moment of truth, where the weight of their years-long charade suddenly comes crashing down.
Not in a dangerous confrontation, but...
No. In an unexpected, almost domestic setting, surrounded by people they know intimately. The sheer absurdity of the situation, coupled with the profound relief and immediate confusion, must have been immense. Their carefully built world has just been pulled out from under them.
And Kingsley, with this wide smile that probably seemed infuriatingly cheerful in that moment, he booms, "Well, gentlemen, how was your little undercover mission?"
Oh, rubbing it in a little.
Seems like it. It's a direct, almost taunting question that immediately signals something is amiss. And Hermione, with a knowing glint in her eyes, quickly clarifies the bombshell. The Order of the Obsidian Serpent is a fabrication. A very elaborate, very expensive fabrication.
Wow. So none of it was real.
All of it. Every piece of intel, every message, every moment of feigned interest in that dull manifesto, all of it. A lie.
Harry's stunned reaction encapsulates the profound betrayal of his perceptions. A fabrication. The intel, the messages, the safe house. His bewilderment is completely understandable, right? Given how deeply invested they were in the reality of the mission.
Absolutely.
Everything they had believed, everything they had been working towards, every ounce of mental and emotional energy they expended was built on a carefully constructed lie. This is a classic forest for the trees moment, isn't it? Where those closest to the situation are often the last to see the bigger picture because they're so immersed in the details.
That's a great way to put it. And this leads us to the true purpose of their mission. Kingsley explains that everything, from the intel to the safe house, was designed to put you two in a situation where you had to work together.
Ah, okay, a setup.
He says the goal was to see if you could truly put aside your past and, might I add, your rather convincing public animosity. It wasn't about fighting dark wizards, it was entirely about them. It was a test of trust, compatibility, and their ability to function as a unit.
Which shifts the whole narrative, doesn't it? From an external threat to an internal relational one. And the most shocking revelation, of course, is that Kingsley and Hermione knew all along.
Yeah, that's the kicker.
Draco's dawning horror, as he asks, you knew, is incredibly poignant. He's realizing the depth of their oversight, the futility of their years of hiding.
All that effort.
For nothing, potentially. And Hermione's gentle confirmation, "Oh, Draco, darling, it's Hermione, and Kingsley is the minister. We've had our suspicions for a while." It's delivered with this surprising tenderness that completely undercuts the tension. Almost a motherly tone, like you said.
And the explanation of how they knew just highlights the futility of the secrecy, doesn't it? Hermione points to the way you look at each other, the subtle glances, the way you always seem to end up on the same cases.
The little things.
It's a powerful reminder that even the most carefully guarded secrets often leave subtle yet observable tells for those who are paying close enough attention, especially those who know you intimately.
Right. They saw beyond the performance because they cared enough to look deeper, to connect the dots of seemingly disparate clues.
It makes you wonder what seemingly minor details in your own life might be revealing more than you realize.
Yeah. And Kingsley's motive for this elaborate intervention, as he kindly corrects Harry not a test, an intervention that's multi-layered. He clarifies, you too are valuable aurors, but your constant charade, while amusing, was starting to become a liability.
Ah, the professional angle. That's crucial.
Very. The personal antagonism, however well rehearsed, was creating inefficiencies or potential weaknesses in their operational capabilities. Maybe it made other aurors hesitant to collaborate with them, or it might have prevented them from being assigned to certain high-profile cases where seamless teamwork was absolutely critical.
Right, you need trust in that line of work.
Exactly. They needed to know if you could truly trust each other, genuinely, because professional trust is foundational to their work. It couldn't just be an act.
But he also adds that deeply personal reason, emphasizing that we also thought it was time you stopped hiding. Life's too short, isn't it? This elevates the intervention beyond mere professional necessity to an act of genuine care and concern for their personal well-being. It's an interesting ethical dilemma, though, isn't it? This idea of benevolent deception.
It really is. Lying for someone's own good.
On one hand, Kingsley and Hermione clearly had good intentions to help Harry and Draco both professionally and personally. But on the other hand, they manipulated them, they violated their trust, they engineered a highly stressful situation.
Yeah, it's ethically murky.
The question then becomes, does the positive outcome justify the deceptive means? It's a classic philosophical debate, often with no easy answers, particularly when you consider the long-term impact on trust between them all.
It's truly complex. While the outcome here seems positive, it forces us to weigh the potential benefits of radical honesty, even if it's externally prompted, against the means used to achieve it. And think about that phrase, the price of amusing liability.
Right. Amusing, but still a liability.
How could a seemingly harmless personal charade, like a public rivalry, evolve into a professional hindrance? For Harry and Draco, it clearly reached a point where their colleagues, particularly those in leadership, saw it as an obstacle to their effectiveness. This implies that the masks you might wear in different areas of your life, even if they seem innocuous or even beneficial in one context, could be subtly undermining you in another without you even realizing it. Perhaps they prevent true collaboration, or limit perceived trustworthiness, or simply drain energy that could be better spent elsewhere.
It's a profound thought. We often compartmentalize our lives, right? Presenting different versions of ourselves to different audiences, the boss, the colleagues, family, friends.
Everyone does it to some extent.
But this story suggests that there can be a cumulative effect, where the energy spent on maintaining these disparate facades can become a drain, a distraction, or even, as in this case, a professional liability. It prompts us to consider the burden of inauthenticity across all spheres of our lives and how much freedom could be gained by integrating those fragmented parts of ourselves.
And with that profound realization, we move to the final and arguably most impactful part of our story, the unburdening, the freedom, and the acceptance that follows this revelation.
So the truth is out. Harry and Draco are reeling from the revelation that their entire mission was a fabrication, a test or intervention orchestrated by their closest friends and colleagues to expose their secret. What's truly striking are their immediate yet contrasting reactions.
Yeah, Draco is utterly speechless, his usual sharp retorts failing him. This is a character known for his quick wit, his sharp tongue, so his silence just speaks volumes about the sheer impact of the discovery.
Total shock.
It's a moment of profound vulnerability for him, I think. As his carefully constructed world suddenly shifts beneath his feet, he's processing not just the deception, but the years of effort he put into maintaining the facade, and the realization that it was all unnecessary, perhaps even detrimental.
While Harry, on the other hand, experiences something quite different. The source tells us he felt a strange sense of relief wash over him.
Relief.
Yeah. The weight of the secret, the constant performance, had been heavier than he realized. This is a significant aha moment for Harry, a sudden, almost physical manifestation of liberation. It's a realization that the very thing he thought was protecting them was, in fact, this profound, exhausting burden. It's an important insight for anyone carrying a long-held secret. The true weight is often only felt once it's lifted. The constant internal management of that secret, the fear of discovery, it's a silent, unacknowledged drain.
Precisely. It highlights that often unseen psychological toll of maintaining a hidden identity. The constant vigilance, the fear of exposure, the emotional energy expended on performance, it all accumulates, even if you're unaware of it day to day.
Right.
Harry's relief signifies the profound liberation that comes from shedding that burden, a freedom he didn't fully comprehend until it was granted. It's the reintegration of fragmented selves, allowing for a more whole present existence.
And the test results. Harry, still kind of processing, asks, "So, we passed the test." Kingsley's confirmation is delivered with a chuckle. "Magnificently, Potter. Though I must say, your bickering over the toaster was particularly convincing."
Even Kingsley noticed the toast incident.
Right. It adds a touch of lightheartedness to what was a very serious, deeply personal intervention. It shows that even in the midst of this dramatic reveal, the genuine affection and understanding between these characters and their superiors shines through. The humor helps diffuse the tension and signifies that while the secret was serious, the outcome is one of acceptance and maybe even a bit of admiration for the dedication to the charade.
And what's truly powerful here is Hermione's unconditional support. She steps closer to Draco, placing a comforting hand on his arm, and her genuine surprise at his question, "You're not angry, disgusted," it just underscores her pure acceptance.
He's bracing for judgment.
He is, and she offers pure empathy instead. Her powerful statement, "Why would we be? You make each other happy, that's all that matters," is such a profound message of empathy, understanding, and acceptance.
It really is.
It cuts through all the years of pretense and fear, affirming that their happiness is paramount, not the societal expectations or past rivalries. It's just a beautiful example of true friendship and unconditional support.
And that acceptance is truly the key to their freedom, isn't it? Later that night, back in the now-revealed fake safe house, the silence between Harry and Draco is no longer filled with the hum of hidden secrets. That's a beautiful image.
It really is. The air itself feels lighter, purged of the weight of their deception, replaced by an authentic stillness.
Yeah.
They lie together, processing the revelation, sharing their vulnerability in a way they couldn't before. Draco's whisper, "Awe," they knew, all this time, encapsulates the magnitude of the secret's exposure. He's grappling with the sheer scale of the situation, the fact that their intricately woven web of lies was transparent to those who truly cared.
And Harry's gentle confirmation and kiss seems so, and they're okay with it, just solidifies the acceptance they've received. This shared moment of processing, stripped of pretense, marks a new chapter in their relationship, one built on a foundation of open truth.
And then comes the pivotal question from Draco, the one he's probably longed to ask for years. So no more pretending.
Yeah, the big one.
And Harry's response is equally profound. He offers a genuine, unburdened smile and declares, "I think we can finally retire our roles as the Ministry's most antagonistic duo." Letting it go.
It's a conscious, deliberate choice to embrace authenticity. Step out from behind the facade they had maintained for so long. It's an active decision to integrate their public and private selves.
And importantly, their core dynamic, that playful banter that defines their unique connection, it doesn't disappear, does it?
No, not at all. It simply transforms. Draco's soft, warm chuckle and his final playful jab, good, because frankly, Potter, that toast was truly abysmal, shows that while the burden of the secret is gone, their personalities and the spark between them remain intact. Still them, just freer.
Exactly. They can still be themselves, quirks and all, but without the underlying fear and performance. Their relationship, now exposed, is stronger for it, allowing their natural connection to flourish without the heavy cloak of pretense.
The narrative culminates with Harry's profound feeling of liberation. For the first time in a very long time, he felt completely, wonderfully, and publicly free.
Publicly free, that's key.
That's the ultimate payoff for shedding the secret. It's not just private freedom, the freedom to be himself when no one is looking, but public freedom, allowing him to be his authentic self in all aspects of his life, to truly breathe and connect without reservation.
Which brings us right back to the liberating power of authenticity. The profound relief that comes with shedding a hidden identity or a long-held secret is just immense. And when external acceptance, especially from those you value and respect, amplifies this sense of freedom, it can be truly transformative.
Yeah.
It allows for a holistic integration of self, where the energy previously spent on maintaining a false front can now be redirected towards genuine connection, personal growth, and a deeper sense of well-being. It's about becoming fully present in your own life.
And what does Hermione's reaction teach you, listening right now, about empathy, understanding, and the true meaning of support? She didn't judge, she offered unconditional acceptance. How can you foster an environment, whether in your workplace, your family, your community, where others feel safe to be their authentic selves?
That's such an important question.
I mean, think about it. It starts with creating a space where vulnerability is met with understanding, not judgment. What does that actually look like in practice?
Well, it looks like active listening, doesn't it? Not just waiting for your turn to speak. It looks like asking open-ended questions and genuinely being curious about someone's full experience, rather than just accepting surface-level explanations.
Seeing the whole person.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that everyone carries burdens, some visible, many hidden. Creating a space where vulnerability is met with understanding rather than judgment is an incredibly powerful act. This story reminds us that sometimes the greatest support we can offer someone isn't necessarily to protect their secret, but to help them find the courage and the acceptance to finally let it go.
Mm-hmm.
It's about creating a culture where authenticity is not just tolerated, but actually celebrated.
So, what have we unpacked today in this fascinating deep dive? We've seen how meticulously constructed facades can begin as, protective camouflage, only to slowly, subtly become crippling liabilities, draining mental and emotional energy.
Yeah, the cost outweighs the benefit eventually.
We've witnessed the almost imperceptible yet incredibly powerful ways true connection and care can manifest even under extreme pressure, revealing themselves through the smallest, most unthinking gestures, the warming charm, the glances.
Those moments of truth slipping through. And crucially, we've learned about the liberating power of truth and acceptance, even when that truth comes through an unexpected, carefully orchestrated intervention. It's a powerful testament to the idea that sometimes the people who see you most clearly and who care about you most deeply are the ones who will nudge you, even uncomfortably, towards your most authentic self.
It's a challenging thought, but maybe a hopeful one, too. This deep dive leaves us with a truly thought-provoking question, one we encourage you to maybe mull over long after this deep dive ends. In your life, what public performances might you be maintaining? Maybe out of habit or fear or sense of duty. Performances that are now costing you more than they truly protect you. Are there masks you wear that are silently draining your energy or preventing genuine connection?
And what might happen if you decided to finally retire that role, to shed that persona?
What kind of profound, unburdened freedom could that decision ultimately